Hope they catch whoever, did it. And I feel sorry for the family. I mean, this could have been somebody going home, or going to work. Who knows?
Man shot and killed on a bus. One of the stories we're taking a look at right here in our Crime Time segment, where we get some insight and perspective from our own experts who we bring in every night. Still with us, Randy Sutton, retired police lieutenant, host of Blue Lives Radio. Also with us, Jennifer Shen, former director of the Crime Lab out in San Diego. Let's get to that story from WTKR in Norfolk, Virginia. A man shot and killed on a bus.
Bev, police tell us that the victim is a young man. They say he was sitting on this bus right here, waiting for it to pull off when a man entered the bus from the back door and started shooting at the victim right here on Liberty Street. Take a look closer at this window that's shattered by a bullet. Chesapeake police say there were about 10 other people on the bus during the shooting. They say the suspect, who was wearing a face mask, ran off the bus and into a nearby neighborhood. Now, we were able to talk to a man who lives nearby, and he says the bus stop here gets pretty busy. He personally doesn't ride the bus, but he has friends who do. That's what he said is scary, that someone he knew could have been hit by one of those bullets.
Somebody had to be pretty brave, I guess, to walk up on the bus and did what they did. So, I mean, you just never know, I guess. Hope they catch whoever, did it. And I feel sorry for the family. I mean, this could have been somebody going home, or going to work. Who knows?
Investigators say right now they are looking for a suspect, and all the information they have is that the man had a mask on. We also asked police if there are cameras on these buses, and they said they believe so.
All right, how does this investigation begin into this one? Jennifer Shen, I'm going to start with you. You get to the scene. How do you start this investigation on this bus shooting?
Well, from a forensic perspective, we're going to be looking for missiles, cartridge cases at the scene. Because if we can collect those, you can figure out a few things. One, you can figure out what type of weapon was used. And if you have a cartridge case or a missile that's not too damaged, you might be able to connect that gun to other shootings. And if you can do that, you might be able to get some information on, who might be involved with this particular suspect, or maybe on the suspect himself. We would be looking at the cameras, obviously. We'd be looking at some eyewitness statements and trying to get some sort of mental picture of what this person looked like. And then we're going to also be looking for fingerprints and DNA, particularly on the cartridge cases themselves, to see if that gives us any information as well. So there's a lot of stuff that we could look for on this particular type of crime.
Randy, what does your gut tell you on this one? Does this sound random or does it sound targeted? And what are your thoughts about starting the investigation here?
Well, no, it doesn't sound random to me. It would be highly unusual for one individual to just jump on a bus, shoot somebody randomly, and jump off the bus. So that's really where this investigation, the homicide detectives, are going to begin their investigation with the victim. Now, of course, the victim cannot tell his story. So the detectives are going to have to try and build a case based on who has the motive. They're going to be looking at the victim. They're going to check the past history of that individual. They're going to be questioning everybody involved in his life or her life. Excuse me, his life. They're going to be doing a forensic investigation on any devices that he might have. Probably has a cell phone. They're going to be looking at that. Who was the last person that he was in contact with? And so this is what homicide cops do. They take nothing and they begin a slow, methodical process of looking at the victim. Of course, gathering all the information as we talked about earlier, forensically. But this is really going to get down to good old-fashioned police work.
Our next story comes from WMAR in Baltimore, Maryland. An accused killer drunk driver released from jail.
It's not right. In nobody's case, it's right.
Victor Brooks and Tara Reinhart lost their 15-year-old daughter. Trinity Brooks. She was walking home from the grocery store on the sidewalk of Del Valle Avenue when she was hit by a car and killed. The driver, 30-year-old Jennifer Jones, told police she was drinking heavily up until 5 minutes before the crash. They found 94 liquor bottles in her car, pills, and heroin.
Heroin, crack, coke, it doesn't matter. You don't belong driving.
She should have never had her license to begin with. But she did.
Jones is charged with homicide and manslaughter. She's been at the Baltimore County Detention Center since she was arrested, up until a week ago when she was moved to private home detention.
I'm infuriated about it. I feel that if it was the judge's child or a child in the judge's family, that she probably wouldn't have got a slap on the wrist. I bet you he would have made her stay behind bars.
The Baltimore County State's attorney says the coronavirus pandemic was part of the judge's consideration to move Jones. Even though the state objected to this move, the state's attorney stressed Jones is still in custody and is being monitored 24/7.
I really want her to repent, feel what we feel. She ain't going to feel what we feel 100% because she has her children. I don't want anything to happen to her or her children. I just want her to repent.
Trinity's parents created a petition for two things: to make sure Jones pays for what she did and to change the way the court handles things.
Every time we turn around, someone's being killed by someone being negligent, drunk, under the influence. It's just repeated. Nobody does nothing.
They want stricter penalties when it comes to driving under the influence.
Drinking and driving, you go to jail for a year. You get caught again, you lose your license or something along those lines.
We just don't want a federal law just for the drinking, because obviously people are getting behind the wheel on other drugs, and as well, it needs to be something done with driving under the influence, period.
All right, 94 bottles, pills, heroin. There's no guard at your house for home confinement. So how concerned should the community be here? Randy, your thoughts. And I understand people are presumed innocent, but 94 bottles, pills, heroin, now kind of in home confinement. She's her own prison guard at this point.
Yeah, it's a joke. The fact that she was released is symptomatic of what's been going on around the country. Believe me, there have been thousands. I'm not exaggerating when I give you that number. Thousands of prisoners have been released based on this coronavirus scare. We're talking about everything from even murderers have been released into home custody, so to speak. Now, of course, this is a family that's crying out in pain and frustration because they are seeing the killer of their daughter basically going home and living her life. And I understand the pain, and it's being shared by thousands of families across the United States. We're seeing prisoners being released on a routine basis now because of this issue.
Jennifer, how concerned should the community be, do you think? Someone who was allegedly caught with 94 bottles, pills, and heroin, and now it's up to them to decide whether or not she's going to, go out the door and get behind the wheel again.
Honestly, I think with an offender like this, the community should be concerned, very concerned. Someone who can drink that much and has that much of a drinking problem and that much of an impulse control problem with the drugs and the terrible decision making, all of those things combined, it's like a ticking time bomb, which clearly already went off when she hit and killed this child, allegedly. So to put someone like that in charge of keeping themselves safe and where they need to be and not making bad decisions, just seems like a terrible decision to me, honestly. I think she is a danger to the community, and I think the community should be in an uproar. I know that I would be.
Absolutely. Jennifer Shen, great to have you on the program again. Randy Sutton, always great to see you. Blue Lives Radio, check it out. Appreciate your time and your expertise tonight, as always. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Court TV's OJ25 series returns this Sunday. The all-new episode explores the mystery surrounding